So who's excited to talk marketing for the next 3 days? Yeah! These are my people. These are my people. If you don't have an automatic marketing machine, all you have is a job. If you don't have an automatic marketing machine, all you have is a job. I'm going to tell you what that means, and we're going to talk this weekend about how to build that. But first, I'm going to start by telling you guys a little bit about my childhood. So, I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and when I was 5 years old, my parents moved our family from Minnesota across the Atlantic Ocean to a country in West Africa called Liberia. And this was back in 1989. And so if that sounds like a dramatic move today, let me assure you that in 1989, it was an extremely crazy move, right? The internet wasn't a thing yet. Email wasn't a thing. Social media wasn't a thing. And so literally the only way to communicate with friends and family back in the United States was snail mail. And it took 6 to 8 weeks to get a letter back and forth if it was delivered at all. And so a whole lot of people thought my parents were crazy, which is valid. I understand that. As a parent now, I sometimes think my parents were crazy. So why did they do it? They did it because they had a cause that they believed in. They joined a mission organization working with the people of Liberia, which is a very underprivileged country then and in many ways even today still is. They worked with an organization building hospitals, building dental clinics, running orphanages, and just all sorts of different things to help the Liberian people. And so it was an interesting way to grow up. So from age 5 to age 17, I spent most of my life in West Africa. I have plenty of stories, and maybe we'll get to some of them later. But what's really important, and what you can't help but realizing very quickly if you spend time in West Africa, is just the extreme level of poverty that most people are living in. Right? It is for most families, it's a day-to-day struggle. Like literally you're providing for your daily needs. And what's interesting is let me say this. It is a complicated situation, right? There are a lot of causes, there are a lot of factors at play that create those conditions. But one of the root causes, not a symptom, but a root cause, is a lack of access for many families and many villages to fresh water. Clean fresh water is not accessible for a large percentage of people that live in West Africa. And so what happens is, obviously, you need water to survive. And so typically, the women in the village, most of their time is spent every day gathering water, manually picking up buckets and walking half a mile, walking 3 miles, and filling up buckets and bringing them back home for cooking and drinking and bathing and all of that stuff. And it's a tragedy on multiple levels. But one of the reason I say that it is the root cause, or one of the root causes of poverty, is because the sheer amount of time that is spent doing the manual labor of going and fetching water and bringing it back to your village is overwhelming. Many women spend 8 to 10 hours per day gathering water. Like, that's what they do. They wake up and they go and they gather water. They take their bucket, they fill it up, they bring it back. That's what they do. Collectively, and this is according to the United Nations did a lot of research on this, they spend over 90 million hours collectively every single day gathering water. 90 million hours every day. If you do the math, that's 630 million hours a week, 3 billion hours per month, 35 billion hours per year spent doing an incredibly manual process, right? Just a manual process. And it's necessary for survival, right? It's not optional. And so what I want you to think about is that represents about half of the workforce, right? Women and a lot of children get pulled into this. And it's a tragedy because there are so many other things they could be doing instead, right? If they did not have to do this highly manual, laborious process of gathering water and bringing it back to their village, they could be starting businesses. They could be planting crops, selling them, using it for food and selling them and making money. They could be tending those crops. They could be educating their kids, spending more time educating their kids. By the way, the kids often get pulled into this too, and so instead of being educated, they are gathering water. And so what was really, really cool to see when I was over there is the amazing impact on communities and villages when processes and machinery was put in place to get them water, to get them fresh water automatically, so they didn't have to spend their time and energy doing it. And so it started out just very primitively, right? Like organizations would come in and they would help them build these like big rain catchers, which literally are just massive funnels that like gather the water in one place. People started building dams strategically, so you create like basins of water like right next to the village instead of 3 miles from the village, and things like that. And eventually, and a lot of Africa now is really coming along from a development standpoint. There's a lot of places do have running water, and you can turn on the faucet and get water in your own home like we're used to here. And so when that happens, it just creates all these massive opportunities, because instead of spending their entire life 7 days a week gathering water, instead they're able to do better things, higher and better uses of their time, spend more time taking care of their crops, taking care of their kids, starting businesses, resting, getting themselves in a better mental place. It's transformative. Like, it is, at a core level, completely transformative to these villages when they don't have to spend their time thinking every day, where do I get water, and let me spend 10 hours doing it, right? Crazy. So a little side note, Arjan and I are writing a book. We're coming out with a book later on this year called The Automatic Marketing Machine, and a significant portion of the profits of that book are going to supporting UNICEF and some other organizations that are doing really good work in Africa, kind of creating this transformation. So you're probably sitting here saying, okay, what does that have to do with my law firm? And here's the thing. Just as a human and a village needs a flow of water, your law firm needs a steady flow of clients. You will not last very long in business if you do not have a steady flow of clients and leads into your law firm. And because that is the essential where you have to start every morning, if you don't have an automatic system that's going to do it for you, it's a manual process. And it requires you getting up in the morning and dragging your butt to the BNI meetings and going to the Chamber of Commerce and making the calls. It requires you doing a highly manual process. And I've worked with thousands of businesses over the last 15 years, and the transformation that happens when you find a way to automate that process and bring leads and clients into your business automatically, so you don't have to spend 4 hours a day, 6 hours a day, the first hour of your day, whatever, worrying about the marketing and where the next client is going to come from. All of a sudden, you can graduate and get yourself to a higher and better use of your time, and it's transformational. And I know a lot of How to Manage members have experienced that. I imagine some of you here have experienced that. But it is transformational when you wake up in the morning and you don't have that fear in your stomach about where is the next client coming from because I have to meet payroll on Friday. So we are going to spend the next 3 days or so building the blueprint for your automatic marketing machine. And I want you to think of this as a machine, as an automatic machine, which is highly distinct from manual labor. Your marketing needs to become an automatic machine-driven process, you can't get up in the morning and haul the bucket half a mile and spend 4 hours doing that. It's going to become automatic, and that's what we're doing here. So this is all about building an automatic marketing machine, which is going to deliver qualified prospects to your sales team. Your marketing basically exists to deliver qualified prospects to your sales team. That's the purpose of your marketing. Not only that, we want to deliver prospects in the right quantity to your sales team. If you need 30 leads a month to meet your business goals, well, then your marketing machine needs to be dialed up to 30 leads a month. If you only need 10, well, then we level it down. And if we need more, we level it back up. Think of this in the context of water, right? Deliver qualified prospects to your sales team. That's like, we need clean water. We need clean, healthy, fresh water. Deliver prospects in the right quantity. It's not that helpful if your faucet in your house just has an on-off button, right? Where you either get a fire hose of water in your kitchen or you get nothing. Same with marketing. It's actually an easy way to blow up a business to generate too many leads in too short of a time because you don't have the systems in place to manage those leads. And you may not know how to convert them, and you definitely don't know how to service them, right? So it's the right quantity. It's about delivering prospects in the right frame of mind to your sales team, right? People need to show up for your sales consultations ready to buy, primed, already seen the social proof. We need to deliver prospects to your sales team at the right time. An automatic water delivery machine is of no use if it just turns on and off whenever it wants to, right? Your marketing does you no good if you can't control when you're getting your leads and when you're not. Your marketing needs to precondition prospects and leads, and this is a big one, and by the way, we're going to get into how to do all of this, to work with your firm, not just you. Huge amount of headaches created if your prospects come in expecting to get one-on-one attention from you and then find out that they're working with an associate and they're not happy about that. So your marketing, a big part of your marketing is preconditioning your prospects to want to work with your firm, not you. And last and most importantly, we need to do all of this without your manual labor. The entire point, the reason we're here, is building a system to do this without your manual labor. I don't want you to have to spend hours every week thinking about your marketing. Sound good? Yeah. All right. So we're going to get into how to do that. And where I want to start is just with this acknowledgement. There is a tremendous amount of confusion and overwhelm and options when it comes to marketing. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my background in a minute or two here, but I worked in the marketing industry. I owned a marketing business for 12 years. There is a whole lot of BS and confusion and just an overwhelming amount of options when it comes to marketing. Your head probably spins from listening to, all the options. There's SEO, there's pay-per-click, there's content marketing, there's PR, there's paid social. Like, there is an overwhelming amount of information out there and a ton of options to choose from. And so a big part of what we're going to do here and what I hope to do for you guys is really simplify and really drill down in what really matters initially. This is about building the machine. And so I'm going to help filter through a lot of the BS. And we are going to focus on a concept known as direct response marketing. Just show of hands, how many of you are familiar with the concept of direct response? Okay. About half the room. Cool. So direct response is really, it's a philosophy. Okay? It is a philosophy, and the definition is simple. Direct response marketing is designed to elicit an instant response by encouraging prospects to take a specific action. So in contrast to building a brand, right, which there's a time and place for branding, But branding doesn't typically encourage people to take a specific action. All direct response marketing means is that we are encouraging our prospects to take a specific and measurable action, and we're encouraging them to do it right away. There's some confusion when I talk about direct response marketing, because a lot of people, when they think direct response, they think like cheesy 80s like infomercials, or they think of like, those direct mail, sales letters. And those things often are direct response. But the key here is that direct response is really just a philosophy. It's a way of using the tools. You can use modern social media, video, blogging, Instagram, whatever. You can use any of those different tools, and if you use it in accordance with direct response marketing, you're in a good place. So just let's get that straight. Direct response marketing doesn't mean old school 80s infomercials. It just means it's a way of using the tools that we're going to talk about. Everybody good with that? Does that make sense? Just to show you a couple examples. So this is a Facebook ad. I'm going to show a lot of examples today. Some are going to be law firms. Some of them aren't. And that's intentional, because I want you guys to see that these concepts work well outside just the field of law. So this is a Facebook ad. I don't know how well you can read this. It doesn't really matter. It's a company called Freshly, and they're advertising. It's like a meal delivery service. And so they're using Facebook, and they're making a very specific offer. They're saying, struggling to eat right? Get chef-cooked meals delivered fresh for $6 each, normally $9.50. Offer ends soon. Click here to get the offer. And then if you click, it takes you to a landing page. They capture your information, and they try to sell you their product. And so what's really important to realize about this is there is only one action being asked for here. They're asking you to take one specific action, and you are either going to take it or not. There's no middle ground. Either when this ad crosses your vision, you click the link and you fill out the landing page, or you don't. You either do it or you don't. And that is the beauty of direct response marketing. It makes it easy to track whether it's working or not. Just by show of hands, how many of you have experienced frustration at some point running your business when it comes to marketing because you're not sure if it's working or not? Let me just see show of hands. How many people have ever wondered if their marketing is working or not? Pretty much everybody in the room, right? And the beauty of direct response is that is the philosophy and the tool that helps you cut through all of that, because it becomes an objective answer. Are people clicking on my ads? Are they coming into my office? Are they scheduling consultations or not? It creates accountability. There's a reason that most marketing vendors today don't talk about direct response, and it's because it creates accountability. They do not want to be held accountable. Nothing makes your average marketing agency squeam and squirm and freak out more than the concept of immediate accountability. It's not, hey, give me 6 months and see what happens. It's, listen, is the campaign working or not? It's data-driven. So direct response allows you to cut through that bullshit and get an answer. Is it working or is it not? Another example. This is a How to Manage ad. The How to Manage marketing team does an awesome job with this stuff. They're offering, a checklist, 151 ways to get new clients. Click here, and now here's a landing page where you download the checklist. And I promise you, because those guys really know what they're doing, they can tell us exactly how many people saw this ad, how many people clicked on this ad, how many people then completed the landing page, how much did we spend on it. Now, therefore, we know we spent $5,000 and we got XYZ results. There is no ambiguity about it. Direct response marketing. That is the philosophy that we are going to use as we build out the blueprint for our automatic marketing machine. And so what I'm going to do right now is take you guys through the foundational rules that are going to govern this entire process. okay? A lot of this is different than what your average marketing agency is telling you. Number one, every single advertisement must include a call to action. We're not creating videos just to create videos. We're not posting on Facebook just to post on Facebook. Everything you put out, every marketing campaign needs to have a specific call to action. Call and schedule a consultation, download my lead magnet, come to my workshop, register for my event, whatever the case may be. Every single advertisement needs to include a call to action. Why? Because now we have a basis for evaluating the success or the failure of that advertisement. Number two, you will create urgency. The biggest challenge, the biggest threat to most businesses, most law firms, when it comes to marketing, it's not the competition. It's not the idea that, oh, these people out here might go hire another law firm. It's they're sitting on their butt, and it's inertia. Inertia is what you are fighting against. You have to, with your marketing, create urgency to get your prospects to get off their butt and actually take action. A direct response campaign has to create urgency. And again, we're going to go through how to do all of this. I don't expect you guys to figure this out on your own. 3, you have to make it easy to respond. This is another area where a ton of businesses and a ton of law firms lose it. You can't ask too much of your prospects. You are. Think of it this way. Imagine your prospect sitting at home at night. They just worked a long day at the office. They're sitting on a couch. They're watching Netflix. Like, there are problems in their life, but dealing with those problems requires some effort. And it's easier to just sit on your butt and watch Netflix. Like, I've been there, no judgment. You have to make it easy. You can't ask them to get up and run a marathon. You have to make it real easy to respond. Direct response marketing and your automatic marketing machine always uses strong copy to create that urgency and to make it easy to respond. You will create automated, organized follow-up systems. Single biggest missed opportunity for most law firms from a marketing perspective is no follow-up, right? Not having follow-up systems in place to stay in front of prospects and potential clients. 6, there will be a measurable objective behind every single campaign. Your campaigns may have different objectives, but you define up front, why the hell are we doing this? I'm spending $2,500, why? What measurable objectives are going to be produced by this campaign? You decide that ahead of time. You agree on that with your marketing vendor, so there can be no confusion about whether or not this thing is working. Measurable objectives behind every campaign. There will be A/B testing. We're going to spend time on this probably tomorrow. A/B testing is simply testing different elements of your ads and your campaigns to see what works better. Sometimes video A performs better than video B, and you're not really sure why, but over a large sample size, it's performing better. And if you don't run those tests, you have no idea if your marketing campaigns and your advertisements are optimized. And I'll tell you right now, most businesses do not A/B test their ads, and they are leaving clients and leads on the table, and they are spending more money than they need to spend simply because they've not optimized their campaigns. There will be measurement and accountability. A big part of this is developing the discipline to review the numbers on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, and hold your marketing people accountable. Whether it is internal marketing staff, whether it's marketing vendors, whatever the case may be, you need to measure performance and hold them accountable, just like you do with all of your other staff. Number 9, opinion doesn't matter. And this is a lesson I learned personally, kind of learned the hard way, certainly was surprised by. I'll show you some examples of this later on. But the ads, the videos, the landing pages, the logo, all of that stuff, what we think is going to perform best might, and it really might not. I had an experience where I created a landing page It was one of the first landing pages I built in my last business, and it was really, really ugly. But it converted at a pretty decent rate. Like, we generated a decent amount of leads out of it. And it always bothered me that it was so ugly. And so we spent some time, we're like, okay, let's create some better looking landing pages and see what happens. And the ugly one performed better. And like, I literally spent like 2 or 3 years off and on, like telling my team, guys, let's design a landing page that looks better than this piece of crap and converts at least the same. Like, just give me the same conversion rate, but then I'll feel better. And we never could. Like, the ugly landing page performed best. To this day, they're still running that campaign 10 years later, and we've never come up with a better landing page. And the point here is you wouldn't know that, though, if you didn't develop the discipline of looking at the data and just throw out your perceptions of what you think looks good, what you think sounds good. The marketplace will give you the answer if you know where to look. Finally, results rule. Everything marketing related, results are what matters. Doesn't matter if your ad looks nice. It doesn't matter if your friends and family really like it. It doesn't matter if your mom is really proud of you. What matters from a marketing standpoint, are we generating leads? Are we generating prospects? Are we generating them in the right quantity, at the right time? Are they coming in the right frame of mind? Like, that is what matters. That is how your marketing feeds your law firm. Results rule. Results are what matters. So who the heck am I? Why am I up here? I started a business called Spotlight Branding back in 2010, and I sold that in 2019. We did a number of things in that business, some direct response marketing, some other things, mostly worked with attorneys. I know at least some of you here in the room at least know Spotlight, or familiar with them. Awesome business, great people. I sold my ownership in 2019, in large part because I saw in the marketing industry like a total lack of understanding about how this stuff actually works. Like, your average business owner is really, they don't understand how marketing works, and so they're kind of at the mercy of their marketing agency to like do the right things. And sorry to say, a lot of marketing agencies out there really take advantage of that like ignorance. And you want to grow your business, you're investing money in marketing. I wish I could tell you that all the marketing people out there are doing right and doing the right things, but they're not. And so I wrote a book called Marketing Simplified. I started a podcast and a business around Marketing Simplified with the goal of helping business owners and law firm owners understand the strategy behind marketing, because it's really not that complicated. And once you get it, it becomes a whole hell of a lot easier to no longer be taken advantage of by marketing companies, because you can see through their BS. So that's what I'm about. Personally, I've done a lot of direct response copywriting, a lot of marketing strategies for law firms, and I've worked with billion-dollar businesses. I've kind of worked with a wide range of businesses, helping them with marketing strategy. But then 2 years ago, or I guess about a year ago, I partnered up with Arjan. We're writing a book together. We're doing some cool things, and we'll tell you more about it. But bottom line, I'm here to simplify marketing and just help it make sense. Just one more thing, and I want to say this, it's a personal level, but it's relevant to all of you guys. I am so excited to talk about marketing, and I love that I get to spend my time thinking about marketing. And I mention this because I know a lot of lawyers, I'm guessing most of you are not in this case, but a lot of lawyers are hesitant when it comes to marketing. It feels bad. It feels like, I'm not supposed to have to market my law firm. Like, marketing is something that, salesmen do and whatever. I just passionately believe that marketing is one of the best things you can do to make an impact in the world around you. And it's not just that better marketing brings you more clients, right? It does. But when you bring more clients into your law firm and you make more money, now you get to employ more people, right? And your staff grows, and you're able to give them a steady paycheck, and they're able to go buy cars and houses and all of that good stuff. You're supporting your local economy. You're providing tax dollars for roads and bridges and all that stuff. But maybe most importantly, when you're marketing, you are solving problems for people. Like each of you own or work in a law firm that is providing like real solutions for people and solving like real big, significant problems for your clients. And marketing is just a way of helping you do that more. It's just a way of helping you have a bigger impact and help more people and solve more problems. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm really glad that you're all here. I'm just really excited to talk marketing for you guys for the next 3 days. So here's what to expect. We are kind of roughly broken down into three buckets here, if you're looking at the agenda, which is on page 3 of your workbook. So we're starting talking kind of high level. So the first 2 modules, which we're going to knock out this morning, are just all about understanding the why, understanding the blueprint of a successful marketing campaign, and then working through some strategic questions. So like modules 3 and 4, really more strategic, getting clear about who are your ideal customers, who are your ideal prospects, what's the messaging we're going to use. And then day 2, or possibly the end of day 1 here, we're going to transition into more tactical work. We're going to get really tactical. We're going to create blueprints for these lead gen campaigns. We're going to get real tactical, real detailed. We're going to do a lot of exercises. You're going to do a lot of writing, a lot of brainstorming. And that's basically going to be day 2 and the first half of day 3. But then we're going to make sure that by the time you leave here, we've got a great plan for execution in place. Because where things often go wrong, I've seen this in my own work, I've had plenty of horror stories about this, is you come to a workshop like this, you create plans, you go to a webinar, but then the ball gets dropped when it comes to execution. And it's usually because you can't find good vendors to help you execute, right? We just talked about why the marketing industry is kind of tough. It's tough to find good people. So by the time we're done here, we're going to have a detailed plan in place for how to find marketing vendors, how to vet them, how to interview them, how to choose the right one, how to hold them accountable. We created a bunch of spreadsheets, like KPI spreadsheets that you'll have access to that you can literally give to your marketing vendors and say, fill this out for me every month. And now you know if your marketing is working or not. So we're starting high-level strategy. We're going to spend a lot of time tactical, like blueprint creation and planning. But then we're going to close by making sure that everybody walks out of here with a blueprint, right, in this book that you can hand to the right marketing vendors, and they will build it for you. Does that sound good to everybody? All right. So let's talk about how to do this, okay? How do we build our automatic marketing machine? There are 3 critical variables that determine the success or failure of every single marketing campaign. The 3 M's: market, message, media. Market is simple. Who are we selling to? Who are you selling to? What does your ideal client look like? We are going to define that very specifically today. But I want you to understand that you have to have a clear picture and a defined picture of who your ideal clients actually are. Second, what are you telling them? So, okay, you've got a group of clients, potential clients over here. What the heck are you going to say to them to get them to buy? And then third, media is how are you delivering the message? Are you using Facebook ads? Are you using video? Are you using email marketing? Are you networking and shaking hands? Like, how are you delivering the message? I just want you guys to realize how simple and kind of obvious this actually is, right? If a marketing campaign doesn't work, assuming you offer a service that is of legitimate value to people, which I know everybody in this room does, there's 1 of 3 problems wrong with it. You're either talking to the wrong people, or you're telling them the wrong stuff, or you haven't figured out how to reach them in the first place. And so building an automatic marketing machine is really, it starts with getting crystal clear on your who, on the message that you're delivering to them, and the media channels that you're using to deliver that message. We're going to talk a lot over the next couple of days about a tool that I call, and a lot of people refer to as a lead magnet, but it's also often known as like a freebie or a giveaway or bait or, a lot of different things. Just show of hands, who is familiar and understands the concept of a lead magnet? Okay. Most of the room, but not everybody. And that's fine. A lead magnet is a free giveaway that solves a specific problem for somebody, right? It's a recognition of the fact that you may have a potential client or a prospect that needs your services, but they're not willing to take the leap of scheduling a consultation or showing up in your office. And so we need to give them some sort of easier way to engage and kind of raise their hand and show that they are interested without committing to a consultation. So a lead magnet could be like a special report, 5 things you need to know about divorce, 5 things you need to know about your estate planning. It could be a webinar. It could be a lunch and learn. Like, there are a lot of different formats for a lead magnet, but the bottom line is it is a free or extremely low cost, but usually free, piece of value that you give to somebody, and in exchange, they provide their email address, right? Which now what they've basically done is raise their hand and said, hey, I have this problem. I'm not ready to schedule a consultation with you, but I have this problem. I need help solving it. And then you build your entire machine is basically then following up with those people. And the beauty of it is you're getting prospects out there to raise their hand and say, like, yes, please market to me. I have this problem. They're identifying themselves. It makes it easy, affordable to follow up with them and keep marketing to those people because they have identified themselves as prospects. I talked about this. A lot of you were at the LQM in Orlando, and I think of this. It's the Bill Murray movie. I can't remember what that's called. What About Bob? Right? Where it's baby steps to the elevator, baby steps into the elevator, baby steps out of the office. And that's what we're doing with a lead magnet, right? We're acknowledging that the average prospect out there is not going to step up and schedule a consultation and show up in your office, right? Even the idea of asking somebody to call and have a free consultation over the phone, you have to realize that that's actually a big ask, right? You're asking a lot of people. They're insecure. They're afraid they're going to look stupid. They're afraid they're going to be sold something that they don't need, blah, 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 blah. Tons and tons of objections and reasons not to go forward with what you think is a generous offer, right? A free consultation, like, what more could they want? Well, you have to realize all of the fears that are holding them back. And so the point of a lead magnet is to give them a simple first step, and then you ask them to take a simple next step and a simple next step. So again, we're gonna go through all of this, but I'm gonna do a little compare and contrast here. So I'm gonna show a lot of examples, some from law firms, some not. I'm gonna point out some things that maybe they didn't all do well. I hope that I'm not criticizing anybody in the room. I think these are all just kind of random law firms, but apologies in advance if I call you out. No, in all seriousness, I am always happy to. It's great that they're advertising. Okay, it is great that they're advertising. It's great that they're marketing. There are definitely places to get better, but don't criticize the person in the arena when there are so many people that don't even get into the arena in the first place. So this is just a little compare and contrast between kind of generic normal advertising versus using a lead magnet. So our law group can now assist you through remote calls, emails, and or other digital means. Call us to see how we can help, blah, blah, blah. And that's a Facebook ad. They're spending money to run this ad, and there are a number of problems with it, right? Many problems, honestly. We're not talking about a specific problem. Like, why am I going to call them? I have no idea what they're going to help me with. But also, just the idea that I'm just going to pick up the phone after I just saw their ad for the first time. Like, it's just not going to happen. Compared to a pretty well-oiled marketing machine like you see with Morgan & Morgan, where it is, get all your, so it's a workers' comp live Q&A happening July 23rd at 12:15. Get all your questions answered, learn from our attorneys, everything you need to know about filing a successful workers' comp claim. So it's a free Q&A. All I have to do is log in and show up and listen and maybe get some questions answered. You see the difference between like the kind of scary, vague, ambiguous ask versus the very clear and specific ask? Again, How to Manage Team does an awesome job with this, right? Lead magnet, 151 ways to get new clients. You fill out the landing page. And once you've done that, by the way, and maybe some of you came into the How to Manage world through something like this, you've then raised your hand and said, hey, I'm interested in learning more about this stuff. And then you are ushered into a wonderful world of follow-up marketing and emails and retargeting and all of this good stuff. But it all starts with the lead magnet. So here's how it all works. This is what we are going to blueprint over the next 2.5 days here. I'm going to walk you through it right now, high level, but just know we're going to drill into each step of this in depth. But I want you to have the high level understanding. So focus on the lead magnet, right? That's what we just talked about. So it starts with creating a lead magnet that solves a specific problem for a specific target audience, right? And then you usually create a landing page for that lead magnet. And then you run ads. And these ads can be digital ads, it can be Google ads, it can be Facebook ads, it could be postcards, it could be newspaper ads. It doesn't matter. Like, this is just a media channel. And the point of using this media channel is simply to drive people to your lead magnet, right? That's the sole and express point of all of the ads you run over here. The call to action is just click on this ad or scan this QR code or call this number to request to get the lead magnet. And the lead magnet is the hyper-specific, we refer to it as a magic pill, right? You're solving a problem for your clients. And once they have done that, once they've opted in, now they've raised their hand, right? And now, by the way, now you have permission to follow up with them. But now it kicks off this whole chain of follow-up marketing. They've identified themselves. They've downloaded a report about how to prepare your kids for divorce or whatever the case may be. Now you know with a decent level of certainty that these people are good candidates for my services. And so the next step, and really these next two are kind of combined, is it's about follow-up. And this is optional, but I included it in here because it can be important. The idea of a wow package. Some people call it a shock and awe package, which is basically you send them something. It can be digital. It could be a physical package that shows up at their doorsteps that makes them say, wow, like this law firm really gets it. They understand me. They know what problem I'm trying to solve. They have empathy. They get it, right? It's usually a digital package. It can be a physical package, but it shows up right after they fill out the lead magnet, and the goal is to make them say, wow, like these people really get it. They understand how to help me. Then there's a whole series of follow-up marketing that we do from there. Email marketing is probably the main ingredient of that follow-up, but that's the message that you send 2 days later where it's like, hey, did you I saw you downloaded my free report. Do you have any questions about it? Have you read it? Is there anything I can do to help you? And this whole series of emails that follows, right? And the goal of the wow package and the follow-up sequence, there's just one call to action, and that's to get them to schedule an appointment, right? To get them to schedule a consultation, to come in or to get on Zoom or whatever the case may be. So the whole point of that follow-up sequence is simply to get them to schedule an appointment. That is the big victory from a marketing standpoint is, okay, now they have scheduled an appointment, they're coming in, they're getting on the phone. But the battle doesn't stop there, because as you all know, getting people to schedule an appointment is one thing, getting them to actually show up is another thing, right? And we have to focus on show rate, and your marketing does a lot to support that and to make that happen. And so we refer to it as the pre-consult glide path, and that's a sequence usually of emails, might be some text messages, but usually just emails, making sure they show up, right? Making sure you've answered all their questions, they know how to find your office, that they're actually in the market for the solutions you're providing. You've provided them with some social proof, some testimonials, but the whole point of the glide path is just to get them to show up for the consultation. And then once they've done that, they either sign on the dotted line or they do not. And if they do, you probably send them a welcome packet, and your operations kind of kicks into gear and does their thing. And if they don't, you build a follow-up campaign, because there's a decent chance that even if they did not hire you today, that they may well hire you in a month. And so follow-up campaign for people that had a consultation but then didn't go forward. Conceptually, does this make sense? Everybody good with this? All right, so today and this weekend, we are basically going to blueprint out in great detail every step of this process. All right, so I want to be sure everybody gets it high level, because we're going to dive into it. All right, so page 14. We're going to take a couple minutes, and I want you to kind of perform an inventory of your current marketing. I want to have a sense of where you are now. Obviously, it will identify some opportunities to improve, and that's what this weekend is for. So basically, there's kind of 20 key components, like 20 little microsystems that should be running as we're building this machine out. And I want you to go through each of them and score it from a negative one, which is you have this thing, but it's really bad. It's actually working against you. It's hurting you. That's a negative one. And then 0 is if it doesn't exist, or if it's completely manual, if you are doing it. And then a 1 is it works most of the time. You have some KPI tracking in place. And then a 2 is it's kicking ass, and you're really confident in it. And so we're going to take a little bit of time. And listen, there might be some things on here, like you don't even know what the heck they are yet. And that's okay. Like this is the 101 building your marketing machine, so that's fine. Just put a 0. But let's go ahead and take a couple minutes and just run through this, and we'll go from there.
Just in terms of audience segments,
Yep.
I'm wondering how specific they should be. For example, right now I have various segments on MailChimp, and one of them is potential new client, but it doesn't break down potential new clients any more specifically than that. So how specific should it be?
I want to know more about them. I want to know their demographics. I want to know kind of their psychographics. Like, I want some detailed information kind of about each of your target personas. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you have potential clients, but you haven't necessarily broken it down further than that.
Right.
So I would give that a 0 or a 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it says your manual labor, that's like anybody's manual labor, not just like literally mine.
I'm okay if it's your staff's manual labor.
Okay,
Like maybe that's a 1, and we know we want to get it
better.
eventually off their plate. But the main thing is it's not your manual labor.
Okay, great, thanks.
There's not this long period of time between when they've contacted us and when the consultation is set up. Usually at that point, all they've done is they've spoken with our director of client relations, who's done the intake,
Yep.
passed the info to the lawyer. It'll either be a paid consultation or it won't, depending on exactly what their problem is.
Yep.
And then the consultation's maybe a day or 2 later. And there's nothing, we don't send them anything in between. And lots of times, there's certainly nothing through the mail, or, there's
Yeah.
not.
What's your show rate? Is it pretty good?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's almost 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. I would still probably send at least one single email that's like, here's a link to my address on Google Maps. And
Okay.
So I would still have at least something.
Okay.
But it sounds like it's not as urgent for you.
It's not in place.
I get
at
that,
the
but I
moment.
would still, and we'll talk more about it when we get there.
Right.
But I would encourage you to have something, a confirmation that your consult was scheduled. Here's the link that you need to click on to navigate to our office, that kind of thing.
Okay.
If anybody's done and wants to just share your score, I'm just curious where everybody comes in. So if anybody's brave and wants to let me know, do it. 11. I like it. 7. 9. 9. 16? Cool. 18? Nice. Awesome. Do you have a question?
I did.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So, when adding all the columns together, are we subtracting because it's -1 or? Okay.
Uh-huh. So like if you have like 3 -1s, then that totals to a -3 and you subtract that from your total score.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Who's got some 2s that they wanna brag on for like just a quick second? I want to hear from like a couple people. What are some places where you guys are like really kicking ass right now? So. Okay. That's okay. You're in the right room. That's why we're here. Anybody? Yeah. What? Love to hear it.
Okay, good morning. I'm Angela Klenk with Beach Cities Estate Law, and we've done a really good job at defining our audience segments and a really great website that reflects credibility, experience, and is client-centric. The whole website talks about what their issues are. Our target market is women 45 to 65 who have kids in college and older parents, and we have really dived
Fantastic.
into what's in their brain, what are they worried about, et cetera.
Love it.
But
Good for you.
We don't know what to do with that information, so that is why I'm here.
Love it. So what's your total score, just out of curiosity?
9.
9. Awesome. Very cool. Anybody else? Yeah, cool. Here, let's. We can start using this microphone as well. So, toss this back here to you. I've actually never used one of these before, so hopefully I don't break any windows here. Boom.
Just kidding. Hello, testing. Hi, I'm Jonathan Mills with the Gray Legal Group. And a couple 2s I was going to share was we've done a good job, I believe, at defining our audience, segment audience. And then also, if anybody here knows my boss, Allison Tilton and Michael Bender. Anyway, we do a really good job of following up with our strategies and our ROIs and everything else, or else I probably wouldn't be employed tomorrow. So
Fantastic.
always checking
Awesome.
on me.
You
Now,
just
where do
hang
I
on to
throw
the
this
mic.
thing?
Just hang on to it. We'll pass it to whoever's next.
Okay.
Any -1s? Anyone want to share some fiascos?
That's a long toss.
We got to get you a mic, so hang on just a second. Love it. The box is back.
Hello, Box. So I don't advertise. I've never advertised, and I am completely referral based for 11 years now. So this would be my first stab at it.
All right. Well, you're in the right room. Cool. Cool,
So I
cool,
have all
cool.
negative ones, nowhere to go but up.
I love it. I love it.
Ready, Box?
All right. So, guys, here's what I want to do next. Next page over. Managed to get some duct tape on my. Next page over. I want to connect this all back to the why, right? Like, why are we going to spend 2.5 days together doing this? And so I want to take some time and talk through basically why we're doing all this, how much better your life is going to be in kind of the 3 classic categories, professionally, financially, and personally, when we do get this automatic marketing system in place, right? When this transition of you doing the manual labor, of unpredictability, of not knowing where your next client is coming from, how much better is your life going to be professionally, financially, and personally? And so I want to take a few minutes. I'd love to hear some answers. And then I also am going to hold you accountable to this stuff and remind you that's why we're doing what we're doing. So let's take a couple minutes and do that. It's page 15.
Professionally, I said higher and better use of time, which you touched on earlier. So starting a podcast, giving more seminars for clients and potential clients, and then, attending more workshops for myself, having a bigger staff, and helping more people. Financially, greater revenue for the firm, bigger paycheck for myself, larger salary and profits for my staff, and personally, less stress and day-to-day involvement in stuff, and just generally more free time, hang out with my kids, exercise, read, watch TV, etc.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Very, very good investment.
Thanks. The firm could grow if I had more leads, more qualified leads, and I could offer better benefits to employees. I'd feel more fulfilled because I'd free up more of my time to actually serve my clients. I wouldn't feel like I was hustling as much to make connections and try to personally be getting all those referrals. I'd pay myself more regularly, and I'd be more willing to invest in both the firm and myself.
Yeah. Yeah, love it. That's really good. You know, one of the things that that I hear a lot, you know, I've had the opportunity to work with a ton of law firms, and one of the, you know, maybe not as obvious benefits of building really kick-ass marketing is it's not just about more clients, right? It's about better clients. It's bringing in the types of people that you actually want to work with, that can afford to pay your rates, and that not only translates into, you know, usually, you know, you're happier, right? Because you're not dealing with a bunch of assholes, but your staff too, right? Like you burn through your staff so much less quickly when you have clients that aren't jerks to them. And so one of the biggest, I would say, like underrated or under-talked about benefits of building a marketing machine is the better clients and the peace of mind and the you know, how much more your staff enjoys coming to the office, like all of those things. And it's better cases, you know. I know you know, criminal defense attorneys out there who may be the best criminal defense attorney in the entire state, but all they get to deal with is speeding tickets, right? And maybe they even built a $500,000 or $1 million business doing speeding tickets, and that's cool, but like oftentimes you want to have a bigger impact than that, and you want to get into like the civil rights side of things, or, you know, do things that have a bigger impact. And a big part of building a really kick-ass marketing machine is you bring in the types of cases, you know, that you really want to be working with. And it's, you know, we talked about it with kind of the example with the transformation in a village when they bring, you know, when they have automatic access to water, is it's like when you're not worried about where that next case is coming from, where that next client is coming from, you have some stability in your cash flow, and you can actually invest into you know, better computer systems, better technology, better staff, better people. Like there's so much that you can do from a professional standpoint when you have a marketing machine that's working, and when you wake up in the morning knowing where your next leads and your next clients are coming from. And I feel like marketing people don't talk about that enough, but honestly, that stuff to me is a bigger deal than just volume. So yeah. Anybody still working? I'd love to hear from a couple more of you, just some responses. Personal, professional, financial. It doesn't have to be all of them, but I'd love to hear like a specific way that this is going to make your life better. Eric, right?
Want this one or this? For us, it's what I really want, almost more than anything right now, is consistency or at least predictability of sales. And I have not had that since I started in 2015. Leads come in, sometimes they're a lot, sometimes they're little, sometimes they're the right kind, sometimes they're easy to convert, sometimes more often than not they're hard to convert, and I just want to get that
stability
solved.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, that's great. Anybody else? Oh, wow. Man, did you play basketball?
I never
Like a
catch
hook
anything,
shot.
so I'm very surprised. I thought it was going to hit me in the face.
Yeah, I was like, this is not going to end well when you started to wind up, but I delivered it.
All right. One of the things that I think that we would really like is for marketing not to be dependent on how we're doing personally. So if I'm struggling in my life because of something that's happening, obviously I'm not really attracting anything. So we've noticed that when either we have something with our families or our mood or we're distracted, it's very hard to bring in money. So obviously we're not going to attract anything positive. So one of the biggest things I think that Christina and I would like is for it not to be dependent on us and how our mood fluctuates.
Yeah, that's so good. That's awesome.
I would say I agree with that, and that's how I feel, but I do estate planning, so a lot of the things I do are webinars, and sometimes I feel like I'm like a performing monkey, like, you know, like having to get up on there and do it and be dependent on that, and I would love something else that isn't dependent on me getting up there for these webinars.
Perfect. Anybody else? All right, cool.